Hey there, I'm Adrienne. Welcome back to Better Days Start Today. I'm excited to talk to you today about the idea of scheduling in something to look forward to. So, if you're somebody that is going through a challenging time or you've just come out of a hard season, it can be very beneficial to have something on the calendar to look forward to. So, I'm going to look at two different ways of doing this, kind of two different schools of thought on it, and also talk about the need for uncertainty. If you have a calendar handy or you have a notebook, you want to brainstorm some ideas, I encourage you to grab that now. This will change the experience of your year. It is something I have been doing for several years now. When I talk about scheduling something to look forward to, what we're talking about is building new experiences into your calendar. So we're not passively waiting for a great opportunity to try something new or to go somewhere new. We are proactively scheduling these things for ourselves. It is super important to have things on the calendar, to know that you have something fun coming up, know that you have something exciting coming up. If you think about it, how do you feel when you know there's a vacation on the horizon, or that you have a long weekend away, or that you have tickets to an event or a class? It changes your energy leading up to that. So this essentially is a way to build that in so you're not just waiting for it to occur. You're not waiting for the friend to invite you to something that you can get excited about. You're doing it for yourself. So I have experimented with this over the past couple of years. One way that I first started experimenting with this was through Julia Cameron's Artist Date. And so Julia Cameron, she wrote the famous work, The Artist's Way. And it's all about getting in touch with your creativity and bringing that to life. And so in her book, one of the things that she prescribes is called the artist date. And what that is, it's a solo activity that involves setting aside time to nurture your creativity. And you do this every single week. So you want to do something fun and inspiring. You want to connect with your inner artist or your creative child. And again, this is meant to be a solo activity. You want to set aside at least 2 hours to do it. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It might be going to a museum, going for a walk, people watching in a cafe. You just want to do something that's going to allow yourself to connect with your creative side. And I tried this and it is really powerful and fun. And if you actually take the time to plan something that's kind of new or outside of your comfort zone, you'll start to see that you're looking at things with a little bit of a different perspective. Your creativity is brought to life a bit more. And again, it gives you something to look forward to. So if your week is just not what you need it to be, you know you have on whatever day of the week you planned, you have this thing to look forward to. One of the things that I love to do is I love to go to a new bookstore. So my new activity doesn't have to be, like I said, anything crazy, anything wild. It is going to a new bookstore sometimes. So I would do that because being in a different bookstore, looking at the creative works of other people, I might spend time in an area of that bookstore looking at a different type of book that I would normally read or explore. So there's just a lot of different opportunities, right? It doesn't have to be the same thing every time, but for me, if I'm kind of struggling to come up with an idea, that is a go-to. So I played with this for a while, and I'll be honest, depending on the work schedule, committing to 2 hours a week, once a week, for something by yourself that is creative can be tough. And I say this as somebody that has a solo walk every single day. I don't count that towards my artist date. I have journaling time every single day. Also don't count that towards my artist date. So I have a lot of solo activities that nurture me already built in. My artist date is something outside of that normal alone time. If you don't have any alone time, you need to schedule it for real, whether it's in the form of an artist date, the walk, journaling, whatever it might be. You have to take time for yourself. You will be a better person for everybody else when you can do that. But I digress. So I found that sticking to my normal routines of exploring my creativity, writing, walking, taking my time for my workouts, whatever it might be, stacking an artist date on top of that was sometimes challenging. The frequency didn't feel quite right with what I already had going on for solo activities. So then around 2019, I believe it was, I started experimenting with Jesse Itzler's Kevin's Rule. In Kevin's Rule, he named it after a friend of his that had this practice. And it's a life strategy that essentially involves scheduling an activity you wouldn't normally do every other month. So it could be a race, a cooking class, a camping trip, something like I said, going to a bookstore you've never been to. It doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be something you wouldn't normally do. And so if you schedule it every other month, over the course of the year, you have 6 activities that are new, novel experiences that you wouldn't normally do. His does not stipulate that it is alone. So it could be, with friends, with family. That could make it a little bit easier to schedule because you're including the people that matter to you in the activity. So that's something that you kind of have to suss out for yourself, whether you want that new experience to be with friends and loved ones, or if you want to go more the artist date ritual where it's by yourself. But again, they're different practices, but they give you the same thing in that they're putting something on your calendar that you wouldn't normally do. For Kevin's Rule, I was doing that, and a lot of times it was races or a long weekend somewhere. I would say when I was doing Kevin's Rule, I was very deliberate because it was every other month about making it more of like a mini adventure, sometimes, like I said, an overnight trip. And it was fantastic. But in doing that, I found that every other month, waiting to have that new thing on my calendar, that wasn't quite frequent enough. So the artist date every week, solo activity, little tough to manage as far as too frequent. Kevin's Rule for me, I tended to go bigger on the experience, but the every other month wasn't frequent enough. So then I started experimenting just for myself, trying to find that sweet spot of time. Every month, once a month, I would do something brand new. And there was no hard, fast rule on it having to be alone or with somebody else. So that looks like hiking a different trail that I've never hiked. Like I said, going to a bookstore I've never been to, trying a new restaurant. It might be signing up for a race. It might be meeting friends in a midway point location and spending a weekend. It's going to vary in time required and intensity, but every single month, there's something on the calendar that I don't normally do. For me, that sweet spot has been fantastic. I know every month I'm going to do something that's new and it's fun. And regardless of how anything in my life is going, whatever circumstances are happening that are wildly outside of my control, that are challenging, that are draining energy from me, I know I have this one thing that I can be excited about. It's done. It's on the calendar. It's written in. It is not negotiable. When I put my mini adventures on the calendar, that is set in stone. That is as non-negotiable as a meeting with a client. It is as non-negotiable as a doctor's appointment. It is simply a thing that is happening, period, full stop. So I would encourage you, if you're going to practice this, whether it's once a week, once every other month, or you kind of find like me that sweet spot is once a month for something new, something fun to look forward to, you have to treat it with that level of seriousness. It's not just, oh, if I can do it, I will. No, if you want to experience the benefit of having that thing on the calendar that is a promise to yourself, that is a gift to yourself, and you want to feel the expansive, energetic qualities of giving yourself that gift, you have to know that it's a non-negotiable. You can't think like, oh, well, I'll put it down if I'm able to. No, that's waffling. That is not giving yourself the care that you need. I went to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within several years back. I think it was maybe 2018 in Los Angeles, 2017. I'd have to double check the year on that, but it was several years back at this point. And he talks about the 6 human needs that we have. And one of those needs, I'm not going to get into, all of them right now, but that's pertinent for this conversation, is humans have a need for uncertainty and variety. On the flip, we do have a need for certainty as well, right? But the need of uncertainty and variety, it's the need for the unknown, for change, for new stimuli. And this might sound counterintuitive because you're thinking, I've come out of a hot season. I got a lot going on. The last thing I want is some change that I didn't ask for. But the cool thing is we crave variety. And by doing the artist date, by doing Kevin's rule, or my style of mini adventure once a month, you are giving yourself the gift of that need of variety. You're going to have something new on the calendar every month, non-negotiable. This is important because if you crave uncertainty, if you crave variety, and you're not giving yourself that, you may find yourself acting in ways that aren't super helpful for your life. You're looking to maybe change a job or a relationship for the sake of variety, not because you actually need a change in those areas. And sometimes that can be hard to identify, right? You're looking for a little bit of an adrenaline jolt. If this is a need for you, if you know that you're somebody that likes to try new stuff, you definitely need to get this on the calendar. And if you're like, that's not me, I'm pretty comfortable. I don't love all the splashy new stuff in my life. Like I'm good. I would encourage you to do it because it's going to get you to step outside of your comfort zone. In experiencing new things, you are going to discover things about yourself that you didn't already know. And by making that discovery intentionally, by giving yourself the time to really explore who you are at any given iteration of your life, any different era of your life, you're giving yourself the gift of becoming somebody that you may not have even been able to see that you could become. Like you didn't know you had these interests, so you didn't know these doors would open for you. By allowing yourself, by pushing yourself, by giving yourself the gift of trying something new every month, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And if you bring other people into it with you, you're going to learn a lot about the people around you. It's an amazing thing to introduce into your life if you don't already have it. I would say start out by brainstorming some ideas. Like, what are some things that you would like to do that you've never done before or that you keep putting off? Maybe it's a pottery class. Maybe you were a dancer as a kid and you think, maybe trying an adult dance class might be super fun for you. Maybe it's pickleball. Maybe it is looking up what's in your area as far as shows or museums or art galleries or bookstores and making a list of little places that you'd like to try. Maybe you love a great cup of coffee and you're like, you know what? I'm going to look at all the rankings of coffee shops and cafes within a 20-mile radius of my house, a 30-mile radius of my house, whatever it might be. And anything that's 5 stars that has a little blurb in there about the cup of coffee that I like, maybe it's a latte, maybe you like yourself a cappuccino, a mocha, whatever it is, they got a rave review about the thing you love. You're going to put it in your notebook and you're going to put that down as a place that you're going to go out of your way to visit, to try it out. So it doesn't have to be anything big or grand, like I said, but maybe it is. Maybe you decide that once a month you're going to do an overnight trip somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what your availability is. I don't know what your schedule's like, but this activity, planning this in a mini adventure, you're satisfying the need for variety that all of us have. You are giving yourself the opportunity to learn new things about yourself. If you are going through a challenging time, if you just came out of a challenging time, or if you just feel like I'm on autopilot and I'm kind of sick of it, I'm not really enjoying much right now, this will break up the monotony. It'll give you something on your calendar to be excited about. And who doesn't want to be excited about stuff? I think we all need to be intentional with how we spend our time, because if we're not, everyone else is going to take up our time for us. So if you put the stake in the ground, you draw the line in the sand, and you say, once a month, I'm going to be doing something that I don't normally do. Just see what it does for you. See what it brings into your life. Maybe you meet new people, you form a whole new community by exploring these interests. I mean, who knows? Who knows what it could turn into? But I guarantee you will not regret doing it. Let this be playful. Let it be fun. Experiment with the frequency. Like I said, maybe you try once a week. Maybe you try every other month. Maybe you find my sweet spot of once a month, or maybe it's something different for you. But experiment. Let it be fun. I would encourage, at minimum, be sure that it's every other month, that Kevin's rule. Be sure, because if you don't put it on the calendar, it is not going to happen. I encourage you to try once a month. For me, it has been a game changer. Like I said, no matter what is going on, I got that thing every 4 weeks that is going to be fun and exciting and different. And it matters. It matters for my mental state. It matters for the energy that I bring into the day, never mind the week leading up to that fun activity. So try it out. I promise you will not regret trying. I promise you will not regret scheduling this and taking the time for you. I hope this has been helpful. Shoot me a message on social or get on my newsletter and send me a message. Let me know how this worked out for you. Let me know what you put on the calendar. I'm super excited to hear about it. Until next time, have an amazing week. And remember, your better days, they start today.
Thanks so much for spending time with me on Better Days Start Today. If you loved this episode, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the podcast, and leave a review. It helps more people find this space and start creating their better days too. And hey, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at adriancrowley.com. You'll get exclusive tips, tools, and access to complimentary events designed to support you every step of the way. Until next time, remember, your better days, they start today.